Thanks for joining me for another UFO comparison. This one is versus the Crux Prime. We're just on the house shots here, but the main key thing I wanted to focus on was the core differences because they're both designed with a specific but opposite purpose in mind. The covers on both balls are very strong, smooth, blending, and controllable, but the cores are what separate them. The Catalyst core in the Crux series was designed with one thing in mind, which was minimizing the changes to the core after drilling or keeping the core shape and numbers more intact. What happens with most cores like say the Shapelock HD from the Virtual series and Gravity Evolve is that when you drill the fingers you remove a fair amount of core material which changes the shape of the core and the RG and differential, which has an effect on ball reaction. With the scoop out of the middle on the Catalyst core, however, if you use a quote-unquote typical layout, whether it's pin up or pin down, you're not going to remove much, if any, core material with drilling the thumb, which is where the primary or most significant change is going to come from unless you bury the fingers. Most people use slugs or interchangeable thumbs, and so quite a bit of core material is typically taken out of the side of a core like the Shapelock HD, which in effect makes the core taller, lowers the RG, and increases the differential. This change makes the ball roll or rev up sooner and flare more, which makes it more dynamic overall. Now with the Catalyst, you're not making that change, so you're staying closer to the design numbers of the core, which limits your ability to make the reaction more dynamic, but asymmetric cores are already really strong and dynamic to begin with. The design of the Catalyst core allows you to have a ball reaction with more natural torque without a layout increasing the reaction to a point where the usability also decreases. This is why the initial Crux releases, and especially the Alpha, were so popular and revered, and why the Prime was even released to begin with. You get more ball reaction than a symmetric ball without it being too much more. In the case of the UFO, however, the core was designed specifically to maximize or enhance ball reaction with the addition of the cavities at the bottom, and I think that you can see that pretty sharply on video. Nano-base covers, especially with such a high load as is found in the UFO's Microtrax S20, are typically smooth and blend wet-dry well. However, the UFO has the most shape I've ever seen in a nano-base solid before. It absolutely flies on the back end for a nanoball anyway. While I'd argue that the spec cover that's on the Evolve, Prime, and Pro Motion is still an even smoother cover than the Microtrax/NRG, it's marginal and they share a lot of similarities. The difference in reaction that the two cores create here is starkly obvious and apparent to me. Where you can take two balls like the Evolve and Halo and see similar things across the board, going to opposite ends of the spectrum with core design still within the realm and parameters of asymmetry really displays how much disparity of reaction can be created. The motion of the Crux Prime is quite a bit rounder and more controlled, while the UFO has a dynamic and aggressive motion throughout the lane, so heavier hands will likely see more of a benefit out of the Prime, while those that need more strength and shape will get an abundance of that with the UFO. At the end of the day, it's not a question of which one is better. Better is relative. I get a lot of questions about which ball is better than another one, and while some balls are more versatile and have a wider scope of use than others, the better ball will always be the one that fits your game and the conditions you bowl on the best. Thanks for watching.